Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox. I would like to welcome you to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is the series where I discuss books which impact the compliance practitioner, the legal professional, and the business professional. I hope you will enjoy this episode. The Sunday Book Review for April 18, 2021, a belated honoring of International Women's Day. And we begin with Wollenstonecraft, Philosophy, Passion, and Politics by Sylvania Tomaselli. Mary Wollenstonecraft's A Vindication of the Rights of Women, first published in 1792, is a work of enduring relevance in the women's rights advocacy. As the author notes, a full understanding of her thoughts is possible only through a more comprehensive appreciation of Wollenstonecraft herself as a philosopher and moralist who deftly tackled major social and political issues and the arguments of such figures as Burke, Rousseau, and Adam Smith. Reading her through the lens of the politics and cultures of the time, the book restores her to her rightful place as a major 18th century thinker and reminding us why she still resonates today. The book's format echoes one of her favored thoughts and the short essay, Thoughts on the Education of Daughters, under the title of Painting, Music, Memory, Appearance, and Luxury. Tomaselli explores not only what Wollenstonecraft enjoyed and valued, but her views on society, knowledge, the mind, and human nature. Drawing us into Wollenstonecraft's approach to the human condition and the debates of her day, it ultimately invites us to consider the timeless issues with her so that we may become better attuned to ourselves. Next up, The Amazons by Adrienne Mayer. The fierce warrior women dwelling on the fringes of the known world were mythic archenemies of the ancient Greeks. Heracles and Achilles displayed their valor in duels with Amazon queens, and the Athenians reveled in their victory over a powerful Amazon army. In the historical times, numerous others tangled with the Amazons. But who were these bold, barbarian archers on horseback who gloried in fighting, hunting, and sexual freedom? Were they real? In a deeply researched, wide-ranging, and lavishly illustrated book, Adrienne Mayer presents the Amazons as they have never been seen before. This is the first comprehensive account of the warrior women in myth and history across the ancient world. Mayer tells how amazing new archaeological discoveries of battle-scarred female skeletons buried with their weapons proved that the warriors were not merely figments of the Greek imagination, combining classical art, myth, nomadic traditions, and scientific archaeology. She reveals an intimate and surprising detail. Driven by a detective's curiosity, Mayer unearths long-buried evidence and sifts facts from fiction to show how the flesh and blood women on Eurasia became mythologized as the Amazons. Next up, Votes for Women, A Portrait of Persistence by Kate Clark Lemay. Marking the centenary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, Votes for Women is the first richly illustrated book to reveal the history and complexity of the national suffrage movement. For nearly 100 years, the mid-century onward, countless American women fought for the right to vote. Some of the leading figures of the suffrage movement are discussed in the book. With nearly 200 color illustrations, Votes for Women offers a complete picture of the fight for the right to vote. Next up, Rebellions of the Daughter, Jewish Women Runaways in Habsburg Galicia. The Rebellion of the Daughters investigates the flight of young Jewish women from their Orthodox, mostly Hasidic homes in Western Galicia in late 19th and early 20th centuries. In extreme cases, hundreds of women sought refuge in a Krakow convent where many were converted to Catholicism. Exploring the estrangement of young Jewish women from traditional Judaism, The Rebellions of the Daughter brings to light a forgotten yet significant episode in European history. We have several new podcasts on the Compliance Podcast Network. I would urge you to check out Low Forecast, the podcast from the Morrison Forrester Law Firm, hosted by James Koukios. We have Coffee and Regs by CSS, which takes a look at RegTech, which premiered this past week. In April on the Compliance Life, we featured Jason Kellerman, partner at Stone Turn. Jason comes from a family of doctors, so he's always been interested in healthcare, but he's been in the healthcare consulting side, doing work at consulting companies, as a CCO at Allergan, and now at Stone Turn. Check it out this month. Comtech, a podcast on the intersection of compliance and technology, big brains in compliance. And finally, we have the Compliance Handbook, where I take a deep dive exploration into topics related to the nuts and bolts of compliance. Thanks so much for listening.